Okay, hello and welcome. I am Lian Buan. We're here in the Conduit in London, and Maria Ressa, my boss, the CEO of Rappler and the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize winner, has just launched her book, How to Stand Up to a Dictator. Maria, I just have a couple of questions. I know you've been answering them for the rest of this tour, but these are questions that come from someone who's just read it.
Okay.
So I read
Yes,
it in one
course,
day.
of course.
Okay, Maria, your book was part memoir, part disinformation. Which part did you enjoy writing more?
I mean, both.
Can you go here?
Sure.
Yeah. No, I'll hold the mic.
Okay.
I'll hold the mic. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, both. Do I talk to there
Yeah,
or I talk to you?
yeah.
So I, I guess part of it is all of the things we lived through, which it's translated to data, right? Like I began to understand it, and then people kept asking me, how do we react to it? And the response to how we react to it is layered with layer upon layer of values.
Yeah, yeah.
Why did you decide to go back to the Philippines?
Because
right?
as you said, there's no other choice.
Right. So explaining that is hard in one sentence,
Yeah.
but if you add layer upon layer, then it's great. I've never written quite like this.
Yeah.
It's all the whys
Yeah.
in one place. I feel old enough.
And you had to go back like more than 36 years, 40 years, even in your like elementary days in the US. Like, did that bring back trauma of some sort of standing up to your bully?
No, I realized it was funny. What actually made me think about that was my high school classmates were telling me that it's just a different guy, but
Yeah.
we had this before.
Yeah.
There's that great book by Robert Fulghum that said everything you know you learned in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Our values are
Yeah.
who we are, and I think that's what I tried to say.
How do you hope that the Filipino audience would receive this book? Because remember, the 32 million voted for Marcos are probably the same
Yeah.
base as President Duterte.
Yeah, I think we have to look beyond politics. We have to look at values. I don't believe that our values have changed. I think Pinoys are the most sensitive, empathetic national. I mean, this is why I chose to live in the Philippines,
Yeah.
right? And I think we have to remember that. We
Can
have
you
to
pick
remember
back
the
up
good.
so that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. We have to remember the good, and I hope that's what the book will bring, and also to look at it not as politics,
Yeah.
right? Why is politics a gladiator's battle to the death? That's what I kept trying to say.
This is also an important voice, not only for Duterte's presidency, but it all goes back to Marcos, the dictator, like the Arroyo. What do you think is the single trope and narrative of all these years? From Marcos Sr. to Marcos Jr.
The struggle of man against power is the struggle of memory against forgetting.
I love that.
Right? Because that is what we do as journalists. We hold power to account. What did they say? What did they do? And that's what we reflect.
Yeah, and you also said at length in your lectures and in the book that journalism has become activism. Did you always believe that? And if no, then what was the pivotal moment for you to say that journalism has become activism?
You know, my co-founder, Glenda Gloria
Hi, Ma'am
and
Glenda.
Chai, they actually say that in Filipino journalism, it is activism to begin with, against colonial powers. I mean, you've lived through this. I was trained as a broadcast journalist in an American network. And in that one, that's a kind of where I learned old rules, standards and ethics. But when facts are debatable, it is very clear. Journalism has always been activism in terms of speaking truth to power,
Yeah.
human rights, right? These are the values that we have always pushed forward, regardless of what the administration is.
I just wanted you to tell the audience what you wrote in the book, which is my favorite line ever. Why will you come back to the Philippines despite the conviction and despite the less than a dozen or like a dozen charges against you?
Oh my gosh, I am not, people ask me this all the time, but Philippines is home. There is no other choice. If I
Yeah.
did anything else, number one, I don't think I'd be me, right?
Yeah.
And look at Rappler!
I'd
You
come
know?
back too. Yeah, thank you so much, Maria. And she's been busy, but I will just do the extra and I'll let you go to Laura.
All right, all
Thank you so much, Maria. That was Maria Ressa, the CEO of Rappler and the co-recipient of the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. And we've just finished with the book launch of How to Stand Up to a Dictator. It has launched here in London and it'll go around the world in the US and other parts of Europe. And hopefully it will be in Manila by December 10, which is our International Human Rights Day and which is very fitting for the content of the book. This is Lian Buan, Rappler, London.